What's going on, you guys? Welcome to Risky Ryan Trades. Today, we're going to be reviewing Archer Aviation. I want to call this a deep dive, but we're going to try to cover a lot of ground and just give a good, solid overview of what this company is, and then give my opinions on whether I think it is a buy or not. Before I dive in, if you've watched these videos before and you like these videos, don't forget to hit that like button. It does help me grow the channel. And let's dive into it. So, company overview. Archer Aviation is an American developer of electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. Founded in 2018 in San Jose, California. Their primary offering is a vehicle called Midnight. It's an all-electric piloted eVTOL, is what these things are called, with 5 total seats. And their mission is enabling safe, sustainable urban air travel with a network of flying taxis. So I just want to take a quick look at a video here just to kind of wrap your mind around what this is.
We've all had that moment on our way to the airport. You're already late and traffic is at a standstill. But what if that didn't matter? What if you could fly over all that gridlock, making the normally hour trip in a matter of minutes? Startup Archer and United Airlines say people in New York will have that option as early as 2025. They say for about $100, you could catch a ride between downtown Manhattan to Newark Airport in this electric air taxi. Midnight is an example of what's known as an eVTOL, or electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicle. Archer is one of several companies building these vehicles that use the same electric motors, batteries, and propellers that power everyday drones, but on a bigger scale.
Well, the cool thing about these vehicles are that we're not waiting on any new science breakthroughs. So we're not waiting on a new battery to come out or some new special component that doesn't exist yet today. And so that actually makes the technology sprint much more achievable in the near term.
Midnight will carry up to 4 passengers plus a pilot up to 100 miles at around...
Okay, so we're going to dive into some of these details, but that gives you an idea of the basic business model here. Super congested inner cities, trying to get to the airport, takes an hour to drive 5 miles. Wouldn't it be better to just catch one of these cool little helicopter planes? All right, so here, let's look at this. So that's your Midnight right there. All right, now they have competition, and there's more than just Joby as their competition. However, when I was doing my research, I kind of settled on either Archer or Joby as the primary plays within this field, the ones that made the most sense. And by the way, before I dive in too much more, I want to apologize and let you know that I did create some of these slides with ChatGPT, so you might catch some stuff that is goofy or doesn't make sense at all. So let's go through this here. So aircraft, Archer, Midnight, piloted, 4 passenger. Joby S4, piloted, autonomy later. So Joby is trying to get into autonomy later, and Archer doesn't seem to have any plans for autonomy yet. FAA certification, it doesn't really say in this, I don't know why I put miles there, but Joby is a lot further along in this whole certification process, and that seems to be the thing with this industry, is that there's a lot of regulations, they have to pass a lot of tests, and so Joby is further along. Now, you could look at it like, oh, it's going to be years before Archer is really doing anything, but by the time they're doing something, it could be too late to buy the stock early. That's the way I am looking at it right now. So I actually like the fact that they aren't as far along, and I like the fact that they seem promising, or at least that's been my assessment so far. Let's go through it and see if you agree. So first of all, Archer is kind of, their eVTOLs are meant for about 100 miles at a pop before they need to be recharged, and apparently they can get recharged within like 10 to 15 minutes or something. It's very quick. So it's really within a single city, from Manhattan to JFK Airport, something like that. Whereas Joby Aviation might be able to take you from one city to a nearby city. So a good example would be Milwaukee getting a flight to O'Hare Airport in Chicago, a Joby could potentially take you from A to B in that case. Partners. Archer, it doesn't really, I guess, doesn't really say, but um, Archer Aviation is partnering with Stellantis, and that's going to help them scale. Once they're able to get their certification, they're going to be able to scale a lot better. They're also working with United, which I think is helping them with probably FAA certifications and things like that. And then they're also working with Palantir to, I would assume, help them scale, and Anduril. They're actually going to be weaponizing the Midnight to some degree, or partnering with Anduril in order to do defense contracts, essentially. So Archer Aviation has some interesting partners. So does Joby, though. Their primary partner is Toyota. That's one of their biggest investors. I think they own a significant share. They're also working with the Air Force and Delta Airlines. Flight testing. So yeah, Archer's early on. Full-scale Midnight not widely flown yet, whereas Joby Aviation is over 10,000 plus test flights. They might get the first mover advantage, Joby Aviation. However, they have kind of slightly different use cases, and I think there's enough room within the total addressable market, which we will get to, for both. And then differentiator. So yeah, Stellantis is going to assist in automotive grade scaling, which I think Toyota would probably help Joby once they get there. And then yeah, Joby's more advanced in the certification process, and the rubber is meeting the road a little bit more with Joby, whereas with Archer, one of the biggest sort of criticisms that they have is that everything is taking way too long. But another company where everything is taking way too long is Tesla. And Tesla has had an incredible run over the last 10 years, wouldn't you say? All right, strategic partnerships. Good job, ChatGPT. You cut off some of the things. But anyways, okay, yeah, so we talked about this a little bit. United Airlines pre-ordered 200 Midnight aircraft, collaborating on route infrastructure and vertiport development. So the United Airlines wants to make this thing happen because it's going to potentially give their customers a better experience. Stellantis gave them up to a $400 million manufacturing contract to help scale Midnight. Palantir leverages Foundry and AIP to streamline aircraft manufacturing, traffic control, movement control, and route planning, building the AI foundation for UAM. Anduril, hybrid VTOL for defense, so that's fun. All right, so what are their moats? Industrial scale. So they're going to be able to scale very quickly once they get their certifications. Regulatory edge. United partnership and early FAA engagement support faster commercial path. Tech IP, proprietary eVTOL design and battery systems with integrated software stack, and ecosystem integration, blending civil, air taxi, and defense pathways boosts diversification and resilience of their different revenues. Financials, they have no revenue, technically. They've been given defense contracts and certain money comes in, but it's technically not considered revenue because it's a pre-commercial stage. They're spending a lot on R&D, which is understandable. Their cash position is pretty strong, though. They have about $1 billion in cash. Hard to go under if you have $1 billion in cash. And the liquidity should last through at least 2026. Recent financing rounds raised $730 million, involved equity issuance and strategic defense. They did dilute their shareholders by quite a bit recently, and it caused a double-digit percentage drop in the stock. But hey, we might be getting in after that happened, right? So hopefully they don't do it again. Forward guidance, quarter two guidance expects an EBITDA loss. So they're not yet profitable, you guys. This would be a very speculative, it's about as speculative as I'm comfortable investing in personally. Bull case for Archer. Archer leads in future sales growth among aerospace and defense companies, fueled by increasing investor interest tied to defense drone escalation. AI Edge partnership working with Palantir supports efficient manufacturing and route planning, a setup that could give Archer a tech advantage unmatched by competitors. So they have the power of Palantir behind them, which Joby doesn't. Dual revenue lines. So they have defense contracts with Anduril, as well as the business that we had described. Bear case. So critics like Grizzly and Culper warn Archer's near-term milestones may be overly optimistic. FAA certification might slip to 2028, while flight logs could be inflated. Cash burn and dilution risk. With heavy cash burn and multiple recent fundraising rounds, dilution remains a problem. And overvalued pre-revenue stock at a $6 billion valuation with no realized sales. Any delay or misstep could lead to revaluation closer to $5 billion or below. Okay, so final thoughts. Federal support is growing with a recent executive order. So this is what I actually want to show you here real quick. Here, I'm going to pause this, skip to it. Okay, so I can't find the Truth Social post, but take a look at this. Last week, Trump signed an executive order to accelerate the rollout of eVTOL in the United States. Today, Archer is backing that momentum with an additional $850 million of capital, bringing liquidity to $2 billion. We're now strategically positioned to commercialize Midnight here in the US and abroad. So one of the biggest bear cases, if you want my final thoughts on this, is everything's taking too long, and it's going to take too long because they're all the regulations, and they said that they'd be ready to go by 2025, and then it got pushed back, and now it's 2026, and the bears think it's going to be 2028. I don't think it's going to be that long, especially because I think Trump wants to, clearly this is an initiative that he wants to push, and so he's going to fast track this, just like I think he's going to fast track Tesla's full self-driving. So some of the biggest fears around this stock, I think, I don't think are founded. So I feel comfortable taking a bet, taking a little flyer on this, because this company is a $5 billion, $6 billion market cap. If this pays off, in 10 years, I could easily see that being a $60 billion market cap, easily. If they become one of the biggest to do this, and who wouldn't want to get picked up in one of these things and flown to the airport? I mean, how cool would your Instagram story be that day? It'd be pretty cool. It's like getting your own little personal private jet to go to your tiny seated coach United Airlines flight. So here, let's just go through a few more of these. So they have a big financial cushion now, $2 billion apparently. FAA certification and scaled manufacturing are not guaranteed. That is correct. However, when you have partners in United, Stellantis, and Palantir, and you have the president literally creating executive orders just for you and your industry, I think it's going to happen. I do. I think it's going to happen. They say that it's potentially a $9 trillion total addressable market. I think that's kind of high, but it doesn't need to be that high. By 2040, I should say. I don't think it needs to be that high, though, for this stock to go up a lot. Archer is best suited for high conviction investors who expect key catalysts to unlock outsized returns. For more conservative portfolios, waiting for established revenue or certification may be prudent. Here's my thing. I think it's actually riskier to wait for that. I'd rather build my position before, and then when it happens, you buy the breakout. You throw a little bit extra in the breakout, and then you go, okay, cool, position's built. Because if you're going to invest in something this early, invest in it early. That's my personal opinion. Either way, it's a play with meaningful headline risk and upside tied to operational milestones. So let's take a look at the chart here real quick. So the financials are not there yet. You have to be a believer that this thing will be profitable and will come about one day, and hopefully in the next couple of years. They've been around for a while. The stock's been around since, well, let's take a look here, 2021. And it looks like we have created like the largest inverse head and shoulders of all time. So what I think is probably going to happen, or at least my plan with this, I should say, is I will slowly be building up a position in this. and I would like to get to at least 100 shares. I mean, it's a pretty, I'm not rich by any means, but like, $1,000, that's not, too crazy, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to be DCAing into this very slowly because it's still very speculative. And if I get a chance to buy on, a lower support like this GAN angle right here, I'm going to do that. And that's anywhere from today's price of 850 to call it, by the end of summer, $10. So if we get between $8 and $9 in the near future, I'm going to be picking up shares. And if we fall to this line, I'm going to take a big chunk and I'm going to get my 100 shares in right away. Because I don't want to go all in on this all at once because it's very early. I'm going to have a lot of time to accumulate, it sounds like. And Joby, with a similar looking chart, is something that I want to get as well. It looks like, it's at resistance right now, Joby is. And, the current macro environment, we might get a really solid dip. But I am going to be looking to add this to the portfolio slowly but surely, and build up, a decent position size. I'll be reassessing, what kind of sized position I want to get for these stocks. But 100 shares for a stock that's $10 or less, that's a pretty easy goal for me to achieve and to get me started. All right, final thing. Let's take a listen to Kathy Wood. She talks about their partnership with Anduril and defense.
That we believe is becoming more and more important. In the early days of venture capital, defense was a prime mover, especially in California. And what we're learning from the administration, talking to defense and other officials, is there's a new mindset in evolving in the Defense Department, and that is, when it comes to new technologies, we need public-private partnerships. The defense industrial base has its place, but when it comes to new and very fast-moving technologies, then this public-private partnership, we're probably going to be seeing more of it. And and learning about this Archer-Anduril relationship, what surprised, maybe not Sam, but surprised me, was that it was an exclusive partnership on both sides. So given that Anduril is doing so much with the Defense Department.
It's my wife blowing her nose.
That's very important for Archer.
Thank you. Let's be real.
She just keeps going. Oh my God. Katie, are you okay? Can you let me finish my video before you blow up my video? Oh my God. You're almost done? How much snot do you have? Unbelievable. Oh my God. All right. Well, anyways. So, bear case on this thing, I don't really agree with too much of the bear case. One of my problems is I was actually in the Army. I was around these like vertical takeoff vehicles. The Osprey was what I was most, around. Big problem with it is it had a lot of crashes. So they're going to have to really now. The eVTOL, like the Midnight, you can see that it has way more propellers, so it probably is a lot safer than this Osprey. But you won't expect me to get on one of these things in the first year that it's out, especially since Trump is fast-tracking the regulations. But trust me, people will use this service, I think. How high do I think this could go? Could easily 10x. I mean, really, it could easily 10x to 60 billion or more. So, the risk reward, it's just really, really good. So, I'll be buying some Anduril. If you got any enjoyment out of that video, if you could hit the like button for me, it helps me grow my channel. Are you going to buy some Anduril after watching this? Leave a comment below what your thoughts are on this whole sector. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button because I come out with them all the time. Thank you so much. And until next time, Risky Ryan out.